Oh, the Jesus way.
Oh, the Jesus way
Is the way of peace.
is the way of peace.
Oh, the Jesus way.
Oh, the Jesus way
Is the way of peace.
is the way of peace.
Oh, the Jesus way is the way of peace. When he is king, all wars will cease. May his peace begin with me. Gonna beat my sword
Gonna beat my sword
into a plow.
into a plow.
Gonna beat my sword
Gonna beat my sword
into a plow.
into a plow.
Gonna beat my sword into a plow. Christ is king in my life now. May his peace begin with me.
In the mid-1960s, the basic life needs of many in Portland, Oregon's East Multnomah County were not being met by any agency or organization. Peace Church of the Brethren and 25 other area churches stepped in to help fill the void felt by so many residents. Now, and for the past 50 years, SnowCap has been providing emergency food and clothing to over 8,000 low-income neighbors each month. With over 1,000 volunteers, SnowCap represents the faith community in Multnomah County in a positive way. For many in this country, it is a time when the cost of housing is skyrocketing and renting an apartment is out of reach. Many people are just falling through the cracks. Programs like SnowCap are providing a safety net for many of these people. Hello, I'm Brent Carlson. Welcome to Brethren Voices. The involvement of Peace Church of the Brethren with SnowCap was a natural fit. Being a community that believes in doing what Jesus did, helping people meet their practical and spiritual needs in everyday life. Peace Church has been involved with SnowCap since its beginnings, and since the fall of 2010 has supported SnowCap with Brethren volunteer service workers who assist SnowCap with its service needs. Brethren Volunteer Services created intentional community houses for volunteers in 3 cities: Elgin, Illinois, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Portland, Oregon. Volunteers live in intentional community. They eat together, practice conflict resolution and relationship building, and pay special needs to group spiritual formation. With this program, you will meet several of the volunteers who have served at SnowCap. But first, we would like to have you meet Kirsten Wogelman, the director of SnowCap. She gave us an overview of what SnowCap is all about.
It was started in the late 60s, in 1967, by a group of pastors out here in East County that felt like there were people who had needs that were unmet in this area of the metro. So the pastors came together in the late 60s and were a group of neighbors, really, with differing beliefs, and but that decided that this was important enough that all of their neighbors that didn't have enough food to eat had a way to get what they needed. So they came together, and we, for many years, were housed in Savage Memorial Presbyterian in their basement. We were there until the late 90s, and then the site that we're currently on, we leased the land from previously Rockwood United Methodist Church. Let us build this facility on their property, and we started with a few families every day, serving in a traditional sort of packed food box, and it has grown from there. Currently, we see between 9,000 and 10,000 individuals every month. We help anyone who lives in East Multnomah County from 82nd Avenue all the way east through the county. Anyone who needs food knows this is a place that they can get help. And not only help, they're going to be treated with dignity and respect, be served whatever we have to offer. And instead of just a packed food box, now folks have the opportunity to shop in our shopping style pantry, where we make sure people can select from a variety of foods to pick what they really like to eat. This is not possible without volunteers. We have 9 paid staff members and 1,000 volunteers.
We asked Kirsten about the work of BVS volunteers who help provide services for SnowCap.
We love our Brethren volunteer service volunteers. They I remember our first volunteer that came in 2010. She came with such enthusiasm and ideas and ready to serve. And all of the volunteers we've had since have all had that in common. They've all been individuals with their own interests and skills and aptitudes, but every one of them has had a desire to serve. They've brought new programs. They've helped us smooth out current programs. They've made things more beautiful. They've helped things grow. They've served our clients with compassion and innovation, really. And they've just shown an example to all the volunteers we have here of a different way of service. And we feel SnowCap is a better place when we have a BVS volunteer.
The BVS job description for SnowCap reads, "A volunteer is needed to take part in the charity's mission and fulfill a variety of jobs as dictated by SnowCap's needs and the volunteer's interests and abilities." Current need is in client services, including the daily intake and interview process, and other areas of involvement include the pantry, warehouse, and garden. We met with Freddie Stuckman, who came to Portland from his home country of Germany. Freddie has since returned to his home after volunteering with BVS and SnowCap for 16 months.
I was 16 or 17 when I was very close to high school graduation, and I wanted to do something else besides high school and college. So I've decided to do something very different and do a volunteer service, something where I would gain a lot of experience but also help people, so it wouldn't only benefit myself. And I also wanted to go to the USA since I was little, and I started just looking into my options, and I ended up applying for IRENI, the German organization that works together with the Brethren Volunteer Service.
Did you find it on the internet? How would you even start to find about volunteering in America?
I just asked a lot of people who are a little older than me who did something similar, and I also did a lot of research on the internet, and my parents knew a little bit about organizations that do stuff like that.
It's fascinating to me how we find each other in this world.
I know, yeah.
With the internet is now integrally involved in researching almost anything. You go to the internet.
Yeah, and I also have to say that the internet kept me connected to my family and my friends in Germany, because I think it's roughly 7,000 miles from Portland to Germany. So I've been very glad that I could stay in touch with all of them over there via the internet.
Okay, tell us about your experiences just coming to America.
I remembered the very first night when we got off the plane in Washington, D.C., and after we did all the visa stuff that needed to be done, we stepped out of the airport and I was just virtually blown away by America. Like the things you see on movies and on television, and it was just like that and still different. That was really amazing. It
was really real.
Yes.
America is really a real place.
Yes.
Were you ushered through the whole system of the visas and immigration by a Brethren group?
Yes. So essentially, it is a lot easier if you want to do a volunteer service as a foreign person. You probably have to apply through an American organization, preferably a church organization, to get into the USA and to get a visa. And I have basically a special kind of visa, if you want to say it like that, because I'm an unpaid volunteer. Mm-hmm. So I'm not working here technically.
So when you came with some other people, and you were in an orientation group. Where did you meet, and what was the orientation about?
I flew with 6 or 7 other Germans over to Washington, D.C., and then we met 6 or 7 Americans, and we met up all in Pennsylvania in the countryside at a camp of the Church of the Brethren, where we had a 3-week orientation.
You were told about different volunteer opportunities and made some choices?
Yes, so we get a whole bunch of files at those orientations, and we get to talk to people who've been to those places, and then we can essentially decide or pick our top 3. And then after that, the BVS team around Dan McFadden, who is the director of Brethren Volunteer Service, and his crew decides where we most likely would fit the best.
Mm-hmm. So then after 3 weeks in orientation, and you picked SnowCap and Dan McFadden agreed,
Mm-hmm.
then you came to Portland. What was your first day at SnowCap like? How did you get oriented and introduced to SnowCap?
So Michelle, who was a BVS volunteer at that time, also worked at SnowCap, and we just took the bus together there. And I remember the very first impression I had there was just a bunch of people swarming around and being busy, and then my 2 co-workers or bosses were just working hard, and that was really my very first impression, that everyone here is really giving a lot of heart to SnowCap and working hard every single minute they're there. And I realized that it's a place where I can definitely work hard and don't get bored.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us briefly what is SnowCap and what do they do? I see you're wearing a SnowCap t-shirt that says SnowCap Community Charities.
Yes.
So what is it actually?
SnowCap is a food bank. So we serve people who are in need of food and also clothes. We also have a couple of other referral programs, but our essential part is feeding people and giving them clothes. And another thing I should mention is that SnowCap is an emergency food bank. So we don't even try to serve people for an entire month, but we rather want to give them a hand up where we help them for 3 to 5 days. So we serve over 9,000 people every single month in the East Multnomah County. And essentially everyone who needs food can just walk up to SnowCap and gets helped. We don't want to turn people down. So that's something that is a little different to many other food banks here in the area, but we try to be open to anyone who lives here.
Is there a limit of how many times they can come in a week?
Most clients actually have residents, so they can come in once a month, and they usually walk out with about 90 to 120 pounds of food. And then we also serve people without housing, and they can come in 3 times a month because usually they have less storage facilities, and they usually get food that is easier to prepare or doesn't have to be cooked.
So there are some expectations and some limitations because you can't give all the food to everybody all the time.
Yes, yes. And that's the reason why we are able to help so many people, because we just give them a hand up with roughly 2 to 3 or maybe 4 to 5 days of food, worth of food.
I have heard that SnowCap is also unique because people actually have some choice about the food they get. So some third party doesn't box the food up and say, here's what you get. So people can have some choices?
Yes. So we serve people from all over the world, all different kinds of cultures. So obviously the food or the preferences of food for many people are different. So what we do is that we take every single client through the pantry. We basically have a big tour, and we have stations of food for everyone. And those stations are, for example, grains or protein or fruit. We have fresh produce and fresh bread and meat. And so we rather let people pick what they can need and what they can eat instead of just hand them over a food box. We started doing that about 5 or 6 years ago.
I'm sure people appreciate that, and there's much less waste because
Yes.
people are picking things they know, like, and understand how to cook.
I know, for example, a couple of different programs where people get food boxes with all kinds of, for example, beans, and many people say, for example, from Asian cultures usually don't eat a lot of beans or bread, so they don't really have a use for it, and essentially it just goes to waste. And here with our system, the so-called shopping style pantry, we can eliminate that for most parts.
SnowCap and its 1,000 volunteers make a difference for their neighbors in need. They feed thousands of people each month. This involves food drives, picking up and delivering food, sorting food donations, stocking shelves, packing bags for clients, and many, many other things. We met with Jonathan Fouth, another Brethren volunteer service worker from Germany, who is appreciating learning a different culture and his volunteer experience at SnowCap.
So I am from a small town next, like in southeast Germany, close to Rosenheim or close to the area around Munich. And I wanted it for a long time what I wanted to do after I finished high school. And then finally I came to the conclusion, because I always wanted to do something with service in my life, and I was always like interested in helping people. And then I decided that I actually wanted to spend 1 year of my life in serving other people. And then I came to the next step was, okay, where do I want to do this? And like doing it in my own country was like for me a little bit too boring, because I was used to the things, how they work, and I kind of wanted to try something new. So then I thought about, okay, where can I do this? And then thinking about I could do this in the United States, which I had a real like cultural interest in, was really appealing to me. So I looked in the internet for organizations where I could like do a year of service in the United States. And so that's basically how I just got to this idea of doing a volunteer service in the US.
So how old are you?
I'm 18 years old now.
And you just graduated from high school last year?
Yes,
okay.
I did, yeah.
And you found us on the internet?
Yeah, actually I found like Brethren volunteer service I actually found through another organization in Germany where I applied to. So the organization is called Arena, which is actually Greek and means peace. And so it was already a Christian organization. They were linked with the Brethren volunteer service from the United States. So when I applied to this organization in Germany, and I also had to apply for the Brethren volunteer service. Yeah, and that's how I came to serving in BVS.
And you liked what you saw and what you heard, and you're very adventurous.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was really adventurous, because we didn't know where we end up in the beginning.
And you've never been to the United States before?
No, I've never been to another continent before, no.
What do you do at SnowCap?
I'm basically at the front window. So I greet the people when they come in, and I just have to make sure that they come only once a month, and I have just to check them in and kind of do a small interview, and then just lead them back into the back of the office where they get like a deeper interview with other people, with other volunteers. So.
Looking at the profiles of SnowCap, you liked the contact with people.
Yes.
So is there anything else that stood out for you in that profile that you said, oh, I'd like to do that, or I'd like to work there?
Yeah, so the work at SnowCap is basically, or my work at SnowCap is basically contact or client contact based, because I stand at the counter every day. So as I read this, and it also said like SnowCap is there to feed and to clothe the poor. And this was something that was really appealing to me, because as I said, I was also interested in serving in a shelter where you can like work in a kitchen and serve them with food. And this was also something that I really liked, because I think that's something that everybody, those are the basic needs, like food and clothing. So I wanted to be involved in that. This was one of the main attractive things for me, because how SnowCap serves.
There's a lot of people that come through SnowCap every month.
Yeah, there are.
And you actually you notice the people you've seen before?
Some I do, some I don't. So, for example, homeless people can come in 3 times a month. So most of the homeless people, I know them, some I know by name. But from some people I just like barely recognize the face again. And some people I don't recognize at all. So I just look at the file and see, oh, they've actually been here like every month, the last 5 months. So, and then I said, but I feel like I've never seen them. So because it's just like a superficial contact, you get to know like just a few people, just very few, but those you know, it's always like nice to see them again.
Are you enjoying the time so far? You've now been here 5 months?
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the time. I really want to do something different than school and just like studying and learning. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just like learning a lot of stuff about myself, about how to run a household with other people, and how to live in a community house, and also like how do I want to spend my time, because now I don't have to spend my time all in learning or studying, but I have a lot of free time after work where I can just like do the things that I like to do. And yeah, so I'm really enjoying the time, and I'm also enjoying Portland. It's a really nice city, and yeah.
For many of us, we don't know homeless people. And we don't talk to homeless people. But you're in a position where you're getting to know them, and you're talking to them regularly, and you're getting to know them by face and by name. Tell us about that. What is that like for you to kind of meet these people as they come in and ask for help?
So it keeps someone humble. Like if you see that people, because you like see their personal information, sometimes they have been to college and have a good degree, and then you see that they're homeless right now, and you see how fast it can get, that you are actually pretty well educated, and that you just had a rough life. And so it keeps me humble to see that people who struggle in life are just living on the streets. And for me, it changes myself to see like how fast you can fall in life. It just keeps me humble, and but it's always like pretty nice to see like that it doesn't depend on how much money you have. For example, one time there was like a person speaking in Spanish to me, and he was just like a normal guy, and I didn't understand him, but he just only spoke Spanish. And then a homeless guy helped me translating from Spanish to English. And you see he's well educated and speaks 2 different languages, but still lives on the street. So you can just see sometimes just life hits someone. So I'd say it really keeps me humble knowing these people and knowing that they are, just as me, on the same level as brothers.
Do you think your life is going to be affected by this experience as a volunteer at SnowCap?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I've learned a lot. I've learned how to like deal with, or how to treat people in a way that they are not like hurt by me. And I learn a lot, like in all different areas, how to deal with money. For me, it's the first time that I like have a stipend, basically, where I live from, and yeah.
Anna Zokel was another BVS volunteer who came to us in Portland from Indiana. She worked in the SnowCap offices and met with folks needing services. Anna also worked on a special project, Leaving It for All to Enjoy, an artwork depicting the vegetables of a thriving garden.
My main goal was to make the hallway brighter and happier, because it's not very bright right now. I did a preliminary drawing and showed it to Judy, and she said it looked good. And then I did a to scale drawing, and then I gridded out I did like to scale grid and transferred it from the paper to the plywood. I knew that there were going to be other people helping me, so I made it very stenciled so that it would be easy to have other people just fill in with color. I did the whole outline, and then a couple people helped me fill in the color.
This mural was dedicated with a special reception and appreciation to Anna for her volunteer year at BVS.
Here we go. 2, 3.
One One of the fascinating things about your mural is that it looks wonderful from a distance, but also looks very good up close. Was that something you specifically worked on? Because it's quite creative.
Well, I knew it was going to be in the hallway, so people will be up close to it. So
It had to look
Yeah.
good from 2 feet away as well as from a distance.
yeah,
And then then you have a flower. This looks like some kind of squash flower. And
yeah, squash.
I see a spider web.
Yes.
And then the next plant. Look at this. That's a counterpart never saw.
It's a tomato hornworm.
A tomato horn worm.
Yeah.
And is there something here?
Yeah, those are wasp eggs.
A wasp eggs.
Yeah.
Very good. And we have a ladybug.
Yes.
And then we're going to finish off with a big flower.
Yes.
What kind of flower? Sunflower?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for being with us on Brother and Voice.
Yeah.
The work of SnowCap's 1,000 volunteers continues, enabling children to go to bed with full tummies, seniors not forced to choose between heating and eating, and enabling families to gather around a dinner table to share their food and their day. For those interested in doing a year of volunteer service in this country or abroad, please contact www.brethren.org/BVS. We want to express our special appreciation to SnowCap, its director, staff, volunteers, and donors for doing what you do. If you want to know more about SnowCap, please Google SnowCap and check out its website and consider volunteering. This is Brent Carlson for Brethren Volunteer Service and Brethren Voices, wishing you peace.
All those who tread the path he trod, all those who tread the path he trod, all those who tread the path he trod shall be called the friends of God. May his peace begin with me.